What's your podcast called?
Holy Ourselves.
I am holy myself. This is actually my Broadway.
Why don't you introduce it? You've never heard my introduction. So let's see what do you think is the introduction of Holy Ourselves?
Okay, let me try.
Okay.
Do you have like cue music that you play at the beginning?
Yeah, at the beginning.
What's it sound like? Cue me in.
I can play it.
Okay, play it for me, and then I'm going to introduce us. Hey guys, welcome to Holy Ourselves. My name's Josh, and I'm gay and I'm celibate. I love Jesus and I work in the church. I am a lover of men and a lover of Jesus. Welcome to my podcast. I have the most straight, white, basic Starbucks loving girl, and no, we are not talking about a commercial ad here. Give it up for my straightest friend I have. Married, saved herself till marriage, read.
Did you read Kiss Dating Goodbye?
Yes. Tried to save my first kiss until TLC came out, that weird show, and they sucked face, and I was 24, and the guy I first kissed literally said, "Oh, I'm so worried about my Boy Scout leader," and that was probably my first experience with a gay man.
Oh my gosh. You know, I feel like now my tradition on this podcast needs to be having the guests attempt
to introduce you.
To do the introduction.
How did I do?
I think you did great. I think that was one of my favorites.
Do you feel like that encompassed you at its best?
I'm going to let listeners decide that. How well did
I don't want to get hate mail, so please email.
I don't think you're going to get hate mail.
Okay, good, because I said gay 3 times.
Gay is not a bad term.
Okay, queer. What
Queer
term do I use?
Whichever.
Okay, whatever
Just
I
don't
want.
use the F term.
Oh.
That's off limits.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I need you to know that I might be slightly consumed with the thought that I can't use that word. I don't use it ever usually, so please don't cancel me. But if I just am letting you know.
Everyone, welcome Ashley Murphy.
Hi.
My work wife.
I am your work wife, and you're my work husband.
I know. Mm-hmm.
I've tried to pop your kissing cherry way too many times.
I know that I've never kissed a woman.
Have you ever talked about that on here? Should we do it so they can see?
No, they can't see.
Why did you tell me to do my hair today?
I didn't tell you to do your hair. That's the problem. In-person recordings, I can't record video.
You are the first gay person I've ever met. I'm just kidding.
No,
That's
I'm
not
not.
true. No, I'm guy in college. You're the first gay man I ever loved. That's not true.
That's not true either. Am I your first gay best friend? Maybe not.
So.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Your first gay work husband?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
My first gay safe space.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
You tried to have a conversation what we were going to talk about, and I said no.
We're just going to, y'all, you're in for a ride.
We are a ride.
We are a ride.
So what do you usually talk about on here?
Sexuality, faith.
I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm married to a man.
Meg Botts had just come on and we talked about being leaders in this space of faith and sexuality. And then last week, because I had a bunch of cancellations for recordings, I ended up just posting one of my sermons on the parable of the generous landowner and the workers.
They let you preach at that church?
I know. I'm allowed to preach. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
Crazy.
You're trying to say something so deep, and I'm just making jokes.
Why don't you tell our listeners about yourself?
About me?
About you. Let's hear your story. Who is Ashley Murphy?
Is this how you start with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I did Life on Side B, the questions would be, tell us about your journey of reconciling your faith and sexuality and how you identify. You can answer that question.
I identify as poor. And
Amen. You're in ministry. That's the
I identify as broken and poor. Okay, my story. So I actually think it'd be really good to talk about how we met.
Ooh.
But I
guess just context. You don't have to give your whole testimony. But context.
Who are you? How many minutes do I have? Okay. Mm-hmm. I have been trying to get on this podcast for a while, but Josh said I was too straight. And I have kids.
That's not true.
And I'm married to a man, and he said, "Nah, you're boring.
We don't allow heterosexuals here.
We don't. Hate space. So okay, backing it up. Born and raised West Palm. grew up in the Baptist church. You and I were talking about, maybe, wasn't it you and I? We're talking about how I actually don't have negative feelings towards the Baptist church. Like I actually have, when I look back at my time in youth group, in church, and all the things, I look back at it with fondness. Mm-hmm. And I felt like in the 90s and 2000s, because I'm 38, that I genuinely loved youth group, and it became a safe space for me. And it was probably the first time I felt maybe at home and maybe understood, seen, cared for. And I then wanted to go and create that. Like I loved the church.
Yeah.
And so that was my first experience.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had one friend in high school that was a lesbian, but we didn't really know if she was a lesbian, because you didn't talk about it back then.
Lesbians are sometimes hard. Like, I feel like it's easier to identify a gay man.
Yeah, you're not
than
wrong.
A lesbian.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. But, we had to put her in the Lifehouse skit. And if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Was she the main girl?
Yeah, probably. She needed to run back to Jesus.
Yeah.
And how can I?
You're all I want.
No, it was like the one time I got to play a drug dealer, and it was just so freeing. I was super straight and narrow. I think a lot of that comes from being adopted, a fear of being rejected. Yeah. I didn't want my parents, maybe secretly in my mind, to like get rid of me if I wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. So I really followed the rules. So I didn't date in high school. I barely wore tank tops. My mom said they were bad. She said penny loafers were cool. So you can imagine what kind of kid. I did most of the church skits, and I never had one dance lesson, and I made up a whole dance to Shackles. You could just imagine what kind of kid I was. And
did you do Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames?
No.
No?
What is that?
I always wanted to be a demon in Heaven's Gates, Hell's
I
Flames.
have definitely played a demon.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I've wanted to.
And then I had to pray because I was like, what if that's the unforgivable sin?
Yeah.
I still don't really know what it is. The Baptists really keep that one on a tight, confusing
They don't talk about it.
They just don't talk. You're like, did I do it today? I would go to bed multiple nights with my level of anxiety as a child, wondering if I did the unforgivable sin. And I really did not want to gnash my teeth and burn in freaking hell.
Yeah.
So I got saved a lot. But again, I don't, what's so crazy is there's definitely cringe moments, but I never looked at it negatively. Like and I also just did not know that women couldn't be pastors in the Baptist church. It didn't bother me. They didn't.
Like you didn't even compute it.
No, until I got to college. And then I graduated. I went to Liberty, and, people have their good or bad feelings about it. But again, I had a great experience. And that was my first real encounter with someone that was gay. Really open, he told me his story because I was in love with him. Mm-hmm. And so that was the last time I told Josh this a year ago. That was the last time I fasted and prayed, because I fasted and prayed he'd be straight and we'd get married.
To be straight so you could get married.
Yeah, because I was in that generation where it was God told me we were going to get married. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't to me. I look back, well, actually, I should hold this on. So fast forward, I came back to West Palm. I worked for a mega church in the area, and there's good and bad there, and got definitely wounded in that process, but didn't know how wounded I was until I landed here at Memorial. Do I talk about Memorial? Can I say that name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we're supposed to be nameless.
No, I talk about Providencia more. I feel like I talk about Providencia more, but everyone knows it's two churches.
I'm at a Presbyterian church.
Presbyterian.
I'm not Presbyterian or Reformed. I'm Baptist, probably still core and core. So I ended up here, and that's where I met Josh.
Wow.
And Josh proceeds to tell me that he was gay and celibate. And I was like, oh, are you sure you're not going to hell?
That's the unforgivable sin.
Is that?
Being gay.
Oh, God. Well.
Mm-hmm. That or being a woman pastor.
You're not wrong. We're both going. But it was so fascinating because I had just spent the last 9 years pretty much kicking anyone out of ministry who smelled or looked like you.
Yeah.
And the reckoning of that was so hard for my soul to think okay, your sexuality is what defines if you should be in the church or not.
Yeah.
And you were the first safe person to allow me to ask questions and be curious and to be frustrated and to be disappointed and to question verses and to process and not to walk away because I offended you. I think that you are a gift to this community. You're a gift to all communities because you teach us how to be unoffendable.
Aw.
I'm not unoffendable. You do something, I will remember it for 10 years. I just saw some old friends and I can they all know who I am for and who I am against.
You still haven't forgiven for me for changing our universal date, I'm sure.
Yeah, I actually had because I felt like you needed my forgiveness.
I did.
We did go to Disney and then you
we
picked
went
the
to
hottest
Disney.
park on the busiest day and I still am mad at you about that one too.
Mhm.
But I think for me, that's a little bit of my story.
Aw.
So growing up so strict, it felt like whatever anybody told me is what I absorbed. And I think the last 3 years have been, I would say, deconstructionizing my faith is not what I've done. It is freeing the lies and the legalism that has entrapped me for so long.
It's like Christian calls it renovating.
Oh, I love that.
Like you're not deconstructing, you're moving things like going, oh, this is not in the place it really should be. We need to move the furniture.
And
over
I'm
here.
decluttering. It
and
doesn't
these things.
serve me to believe that anymore.
Yeah.
I really couldn't tell you where my relationship with hell is.
Yeah.
What does that actually and who actually belongs there? But I could tell you that I have a hope in Jesus Christ.
I can tell you a few people. Sorry, continue. This is me
a few
being
people
mad.
about hell.
No, tell you a few people that belong there, but
Oh, deal.
continue.
Deal. Maybe not on this one.
No,
I don't want to be
no,
associated
sorry.
with hate crimes.
I know. Okay, continue. Sorry. See, y'all, Ashley just brings out this side of
I bring
me.
out the worst. You bring out my best and I bring out your worst. This is why you don't hang out with
You're talking
straight
about me
people.
being unoffendable, and I'm over here just
You're like,
showing
oh,
out my
yeah, the
list.
hate
Here's
love.
the list for hell.
This is all the people. This is how
that
the
I wanna
Christians
send.
get back.
Yeah.
It's my blacklist.
hmm
No, there's probably a few people I have on it. But so for me, going back to the guy I loved in college, maybe one day he'll listen to this. I loved him so much. And I think it's that we just had so much in common. What I realize now is I felt seen and understood. And I was sharing a little bit about being adopted. I have an aspect that I've worked really hard on with borderline personality disorder. And maybe that relates to people on here. So having a mental illness, I think one of the biggest parts is you want to be seen, you want to be safe, and you want to be understood. You want to be validated. And he was great. My biggest regret that I've learned from you about him is that I wish I spent less time trying to make him my lover and more time loving him. I just didn't, it wasn't taught. It wasn't taught that you could be gay and love Jesus.
Yeah. No, I mean, I never learned that.
No, we had conversion therapy at Liberty. I mean, I give a shout out to Luke Wilson, who has written a book, and we went on a date in college.
Really?
Yeah, but I knew he was gay. And I told my best friends, and I was like, he is gay. And then at the end, he was like, I'm kind of into both. And I was like, I think I'm just into one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when we were growing up, this is why books like Wesley Hill's Washed and Waiting and Matthew Vine's God and the Gay Christian were so radical when they came out. Because I remember in my 20s, right after I first became a Christian, and I would tell gay friends, hey, so I want to figure out to be gay and Christian. It wasn't even side B stuff. It was just in general, follow God as. Even my gay friends were just that. No one does that. That's not a thing. You pick one or you pick the other.
It's because that's what we've been taught.
Yeah, and I think everyone had been taught that. The gay community had been taught that. The church had been taught that. And then I feel like it's obviously there have been cases of people doing it. It's been there the whole time. But I think the ex-gay movement really was able to capture a lot there to divert and separate. Great book for everyone is Still Time to Care by Greg Johnson. He talks about the history of the ex-gay movement. But then you had these books that were coming in and asking these questions again because it was a radical thing of oh, so I'm not the only one trying to do that.
And I'm not going to hell.
And I'm not going to hell for it.
Oh, man, I think, Josh, when I think about the relationship with you, what you have taught me is that the verse in the Bible, I'm not calling you a whore because I'm a whore too.
I mean, I call myself a whore, so that's fine. Anyone went to you?
I think that
when you finally read my book, you'll understand the joke.
You are my sweet whore. I think that the scripture when Jesus steps in for the woman caught in adultery, and he looks at him and he's like, "Whoever has not sinned, you throw the first stone."
Yeah.
I think that if the church could get on that movement, we would be a healthier church.
Yeah.
The problem is we are so in a need to control and micromanage because we're so afraid that we have to protect the identity of Christ. And it's not. It's a protection of the fear of like acceptance. And I just think if we actually all focused on ourselves and our own sin journey and our own healing journey and our own mistakes and our own growth, if we actually did the work, we would not have time to go, "Oh, Josh, he says he's a celibate gay man. What does that mean? Is he straight enough or not? Sorry, not straight enough. Are you like you and I were talking about this day? Are you Christian enough? Are you gay enough?" Like I weep. It does make me emotional for you. For a lot of our conversation today that we've had on the sidebar is like, I struggle enough to wonder if I'm enough. And I don't ever walk into a place, very rarely, that I have to go, I need to prove that I am enough, Ashley.
I mean, you do, like we both do, because ultimately I know you deal with that as a woman.
Yeah.
Remember the one experience we had?
Yeah. Yeah. And the guy was super mean to both of us.
Yeah. Like you were questioned for being a woman as a pastor.
Yeah. Remember he called me dumb.
Oh, I forgot it.
Yeah. He was like, I asked him, I was trying to be nice. We're a different denomination of Presbyterian. I'm not Presbyterian. I know nothing about it. So I was like trying to be curious and kind. And he was like, "Oh, that's elementary language." And I was like, "Oh, this conversation is done.
Done. We're done."
And then he was questioning you.
Yeah.
And how do you not know these things?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he was asking me about the confessions or whatever of Presbyterian. I'm like, dude, I don't care. It's like not my thing. I'm not here because I'm Presbyterian. I'm here because I'm part of my local community.
Yes.
And I want to serve my local community.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just it is hard. I think.
I just want to say I love you. And
I love you.
I think where I've had to hear from you or from Christian, I think Christian was the one who said it to me, or maybe it was our friend Ryan, who was like, you have to forgive yourself for those years at the church that you kicked people out. Like I remember there was a little girl. This story is what defines my sin and my brokenness of sadness of what I did. There's a little girl, she identified as pansexual. I didn't know what that means. I'm going to be honest. I'm not trying to be naive, but I thought it was like a cooking pan.
Yep.
You know, like a cast iron. I thought that's what it was. I was like, oh, a pansexual. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you make pancakes? So obviously I have never done even like I'm telling you, straight as narrow as I could get. I was like, I followed the rules and I told on myself.
I love how we've met in the middle. I've done everything. You've done nothing.
Nothing.
And here we are.
And I like that you try not to tell me things. And I'm like, just tell me. And then you tell me and my face is like shocked. And I'm like, oh, I didn't practice my youth pastor face of telling me the worst thing you've ever done.
You're like, just tell me it. And I'm like, you're not ready.
Yeah. I'm not ready for a lot, I've realized. But she told me this, and she was on the worship team. Was she dating one? No. Was she in a relationship? No. This was like her journey of curiosity. And you know what I immediately did? Is I said, oh, you can't be on the worship team anymore because you've told somebody that you identify as this. She left the church. Never to come back again. To this day, I literally still feel like I need to write her a card, and I probably should do it because I keep saying it, to get her mom's information and send it to her to be like, I was a horrible example of what Christ was. I cared more about control. I cared more about looking like I got the minions in order, or I kicked people out the way they wanted it to look. And I didn't know better.
Yeah.
That's the part I have to hold. But I look past it and I'm like, man, what are we so afraid of as straight evangelical Christians? Like, what are we so afraid of?
I think that, like, I do agree with what you were saying of whoever told you that you need to forgive yourself. Like, the hard part for me often is, I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying of how we need to examine our own stories, because I think it speaks into a larger thing of the church and sexuality, where it's, I don't even know how to break it all down, but I think that there's a piece of, I think so many people in the church are holding a lot of secrets, like the amount of shame and secrecy and insecurity and baggage that we hold, all of us hold in our sexuality, our sexual history, our insecurities, our temptations, all of these things, that then to see people who are declaring something that feels like they're not living with that same secrecy, it's challenging to compute.
And covering it up with the word conviction.
Yes.
Like, they have no conviction.
Yeah.
But really, you're right. It's a freedom to be able to say, this is what I am processing.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to hide it to be what you think I need to be accepted.
Well, because I think often a lot of times pastors, there's two things. First of all, like you were saying, sometimes we're just trained into a church where we're not taught anything else. Like, we're told, hey, the youth kid, who comes out as pansexual, we need to like take them off the worship team, because that's just what we're told of how to do it. And then I think the other part of it is, so often when I've talked to pastors, the only computing like similarity they have to me being gay is like their desire to cheat on their spouse, or their, so for them, it's this thing of, they see me coming out as gay as if they were to loudly proclaim them wanting to cheat on their spouse, which, first of all, not the same thing. But I think there's a hard piece of like the inability to see in our own stories sometimes. But I think going back to that story with the girl, I think it's so hard because we're so often thrown into situations in ministry that we have no training for. We have nothing for. Like, the amount of times I've similarly done stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the worst decision possible. And I think we lack a lot of training in ministry of like really being able to navigate it. And I mean, granted, obviously, it's always like great to be able to,
like if we were less being in a mega church. This was one of the big things. I just want to jump in and say this. Yeah. If we were less focused on the numbers, in the getting, and we were more focused on actually what was the need for care, it would be life changing. Yeah, like I just was talking to a friend, and they were talking about a situation which happens a lot. It does happen where with teenagers, they can struggle with the suicidal thoughts or the self-harm or whatever. And it's like, but we're not trained for that. And it's like, well, we have all these counselors around us, but we don't put priority on actually providing care that we need in that moment. Like the church has done a really bad job of bridging the gap in the needs. Yeah. It has done a really big job on circulating people in and out. Yeah. To keep them coming, to pay for it. And that's why I believe you and I should quit and not be paid. And, oh, no? You're not on for that?
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I am.
We need you to support this podcast and take me on. And I am now poor sexual. And
wait, what did you say?
I'm poor sexual.
Poor sexual.
Is that an actual sexuality?
No.
Okay, good. I don't want to offend anybody.
There's what's the one that I've always thought is it sapiosexual?
Bro, you're talking to someone that thought pansexual was a cooking pan for pancakes.
I know. I know.
But I think like if I would have been less focused on the program, less focused on the rules, and less focused on the numbers, and I would have been focused on the needs and being willing to go, because I learn about this, it doesn't say, this is what you and I think you have really taught me, is to stand in the gap for I'm in student ministry as a student pastor here. I don't know if I said that, but to stand in the gap for a student, I felt like was me saying like, yes, I support every choice you're making.
Yes.
And that's exactly who I am too. Like, it's this scary part of alignment that you don't know how to battle, because wherever I would stand in sexuality, you and I align a lot. And, and for me, this year was the first year where I've been able, I do a lot with schools and all over, where I was able to learn and talk with a student in a school about like not correcting the sexuality, not saying this is what the Bible said, to just go, tell me about who you are and let me love you. And the truth is, just like Jesus, he was like, hey, if you've never sinned, you do what you want over here. Yeah. And then as they all walked away, he took care of that woman's sin. He talked to her gently and lovingly. And that will always be a greater transformation than the youth pastor coming at the student going, you need to not be whatever sexuality you are processing. Yeah. Whatever thing or story you're in. That's not my, I really feel like this year what I have come to realize is accountability needs to be asked and offered in. And I think as pastors, for a very long time, we thought it was our job to be the accountability. Yeah. Not the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, because there's...
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does.
If that all ties together, but it all comes back to that story. Like, Jesus took care of her. He talked to her. He's like, hey, don't go and do this anymore, okay? I love you.
Yeah.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
But you think if he would have let the people... I mean, she would have died. I guess getting stoned would not have been a happy ending for her. But... isn't that all of us? We're standing there and we do stone people time and time again, and they never want to show back up in the church and they never want to come back again. And honestly, it's the reason that makes me want to leave ministry a lot of times, because I don't want to be by your rules.
Yeah.
I want to be by the red letter in the Bible.
Well, because I think you really hit something on the head there, which I wish a lot of people in ministry could understand. Is there's this fear of, if someone's sharing their story with me in ministry, and if I don't come out definitively, then I'm approving, of every decision they've ever made. And there's also this pressure that we feel in ministry that, like, when someone's bringing a problem, I have to have the answers. I have to have the certainty. And we get really afraid to go, wow, I don't know the answer here.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing. And I don't know what that is, other than that's really heavy or that's a lot. I will still always say one of the biggest things, one of the most powerful moments in ministry as a youth kid, I had been kicked out of my youth group God, I remember, I was very young. And then
what was that youth pastor's name? Let's call him out.
Well, that was more complex than that. It wasn't the youth pastor. It was actually that the youth pastor got fired, and then he was like my saving grace. And so I got moved. I was no longer welcome.
Who kicked you out is my question. I want names.
It wasn't.
Call them out. I'm just kidding. That's equally as throwing the stone. Tell me their names.
Well, what happened was I went and visited another church.
Yeah.
TC3. And I was so done with church. And I was like the openly gay kid. So I went to their youth group. The youth pastor's name at the time was Jeff. I know. I love Jeff.
Is this a happy story?
Yeah.
Okay, we love you, Jeff.
We love Jeff.
And we also love TC3, Jason Prittmore. We love you. Sherry.
Yes. So Jeff was the youth pastor at the time. And I remember I literally afterwards went up to him and I was like, listen, this is my story. I'm gay. I just got kicked out of the ministry, like out of church. If you want me to go, I can leave. Let me know. How do you feel? And I was like very in his face. And he was very much going, well, I don't know a lot about this, but just like would love to get to know you. And he became like, we weren't always on the same page, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had tension points,
Mm-hmm.
but he was so loving and he was really made space for me. He walked through me doing a lot of stuff, illegal things.
Things that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
Still at my age.
And like, I think what was beautiful was he cared for me and my safety.
Yeah.
And he was like not wanting me to do anything, obviously, both illegal and harmful. But there was also the space to do it. But I think we're not trained to act that way in ministry. And we expect, because people come to us expecting so much like from us, that then we operate in this way. But there really is a power when you can engage with someone who you're like, I know nothing about what you're going through, but I can be there and I can be present. And it's very different. And it's very like, that's still probably one of the moments in my youth that I remember the most.
It's the I don't need to save you or fix you. I just need to see you and validate you. Mm-hmm. I think that whatever many years I spend working, I joke and call it being a paid Christian versus just being one that like shows up and gets to serve. At some point, that will be me.
My friend Grant calls, in my situation, calls it being a professional homosexual.
Oh.
Yeah, a paid Christian, a professional homosexual.
We are a podcast waiting to happen. Welcome to our paid Christian and professional homosexuality. I think what I want to live out in your story, I just love, and it made me cry. I mean, it always makes me cry when you tell me parts of that, because I hope that is what I will be for the rest of when I work in ministry. I hope that my need, actually, when you get older, I know it's going to sound like when you get older, you realize the less you need to save and the more you need to just show up and care. I got a couple letters from my high schoolers this year, and I have like 5 seniors. So every time like kids graduate in a very small youth group, it's like very painful for me. I feel like they're like my own children going off to college. I know they're not. I didn't pay them to, didn't pay for their lives. But a couple of them wrote me cards, and one just wrote me one, and she left it for me at middle school camp. She came with and helped me serve. And man, when I hear them say like, and it's not me, like it's really not. It's probably all of my mess ups and screw ups that has led me here. And I thank Jesus for the opportunity to get a chance to do it the way I experienced it, and also I wanted to create it. And I believe he's called me to it. But like, when they say to me, like, you created a space where before I have never felt accepted. And I have to thank God that this is where I ended up in some small, little, sweet Presbyterian church that I knew nothing about the Presbyterian world. And I remember we met with, I don't know if you ever talked about Keith or have Keith on here.
Keith hasn't come on yet. I'm wanting him on, but they know I've mentioned him multiple times.
Keith. We need a Keith, Josh, and Ashley donut hour, because you will get some of the best laughs. Because Josh will tell me something about homosexuality that I didn't know about, and then I will start making inappropriate comments as many times as I can, and then Keith just dies laughing. Yeah. And it's just a
good old time.
It's a circus with us. But I remember just looking at Keith going like, it's so funny. I'm not who you need or want. I'm broken. And for someone to look at me, and in my messiest, leaving 9 years of working in a mega church, part of ministry, and just look at me and go, just come as you are. That is what I hope we could say to one another. Yeah. Like, we have just made too many rules and guidelines. And for anyone listening that has not heard this before, from a very straight, basic, boring white girl, because you can't see me and my hair looks really good. It's bleach blonde. We'll
have a great picture on the cover photo of this episode.
Make it really cute of you.
Really cute.
Wait, I'm about to do something sweet.
Sorry. Okay, continue.
I just want to personally say, and it's not like I have to do this for the rest of my life, but I will as many times as I can. I want to say, for anyone who has experienced that rejection from the church and has met the youth pastor, Ashley, who just didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know she was hurting you. She didn't know unintentionally or intentionally has made you feel like you are not a part of this. You are so loved. You are so welcomed. You are so cared for. And I'm just sorry because you are meant to be in the church with no rules and regulations around it, just as you are. And I need to hear that. Yeah. I need it. You and I were talking about this today. We were talking about the call and surrender and how hard it is. But man, there are just times where we just need to know our jobs, our finance, like our life. It felt like there was times where if I didn't make the right move, my job was on the line.
Yeah.
I just need safety. Even if I work here, that's still what I need.
Yeah. That's like, so for everyone, if you enjoyed the episode with Meg Botts, we actually just recorded and published a bonus episode with her. And I was recording it right before we jumped on here. And we were talking about how, when I was talking with Sarah Claire had asked me, if you weren't in ministry, if you weren't like all of this, would you still want to live life how you do? Like with a celibacy or whatever, like would you still want to do this? And I think Meg and I were talking about how that's a really good question to come back to, because so often when we get into ministry, our life becomes quickly no longer about like conviction and more about like fear of loss, fear of consequences, of what I'm going to lose if I'm, however that's like, and I think that's like, for me, I feel that with celibacy. I think people feel it with their marriage. And so I even think what you were just saying to listeners about that, I think that that's the route for ministry leaders to also be able to offer that to kids. Because like, I think one of the biggest reasons why it's so hard for us sometimes to offer that to people is because we don't believe that for ourselves. Like to believe in ministry, that you are enough, that you are worth being loved, that you don't need to like perform in this way. I think is something we're not really given very often when we work in ministry. And sometimes that's like a perception thing. Because hell, I still feel that at Providencia. Providencia is probably one of the most chill places on earth. That's very true. And yet I still feel it. And then I have to be reminded when I invite people in to know me, and then I realize how little judgment there is or whatever. And not that it's not perfect, but like, it can still, sometimes there can feel pressure there. But like, even when it's not actually there, we have like built it into how we operate. Yeah. And it's so hard to let go of.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. I think in ministry, because there's like so many elements, like you're expected to be a therapist, you're expected to be an administrator, you're expected to be a good speaker, you're expected to, have this free time, but also be, have it worth being paid, because people then are like, why are you?
You're expected to be a business person, a preacher, a teacher, empathetic, a counselor, a program director.
And so then with all of that pressure, I think being able to come back to what you were saying is really important. Like, I feel that.
Well, and I think I just keep going back to that scripture, and I just keep thinking to myself, like, we busy ourselves with rules.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, if I looked at you and I was like, Josh, you cannot do this because you identify as gay. What does that do for me? What does that do for anyone?
Yeah.
Like, we're already struggling for volunteers in the church.
Yeah.
Like, let's put some stipulations on if you are good enough to hold the door and greet somebody.
Oh my gosh.
The part I want to say is, like, if you as a pastor right now, if you're ever listening to this and you are really mentally, emotionally, physically, all the things healthy, you are in counseling for yourself, because honestly, you take on a lot of people's pain. You hear it. You need a place to process it. You have your own. And then you have mastered how to make every one of your congregants feel loved and seen. And you still have time to judge. Go ahead. That's what I feel like. It's just, there's these conversations where we hyper focus, and I to me, homosexuality has been one of them. You know, like everything politically this last couple of years, it's like all these things we hyper focus on, and then we start battles over nothing.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this. I don't know how much you talk about, like, we were talking about this today, how much you talk about, like, the enemy perspective, you know, talking about hell at the beginning.
Do it. Get charismatic.
Okay, here's my charismatic. It's very Baptist, too. It's like...
Baptist-costal.
I don't know if you've ever read C.S. Lewis, Screw Tape Letters, but that is what we are. Like, the devil, if you believe, is just laughing it up and enjoying it, lapping it up. That we are so divided and we are so nasty and we are telling people you don't belong here because you do not meet my standard. That is a country club. That is not a church. That is a cult. It is not a church. The church is the body of believers who come together and pick one another up when they're in a low place. The church is a body of believers who eat together, who do community, who love each other. It never said the church had to be these people who met my standard. Yeah. So where did we come up with that? It like infuriates me. And I think this like little, like, I don't know if she's a good example, but it's first that come to my head, Margaret Thatcher and me, like, like, I know she's a little too much of a dictator. That's not who I'm really thinking. But like that iron fist woman in me is like, how are we this stupid? Yeah. Like, honestly, how are we this focused on the wrong thing? How have we missed it? And I'm not perfect, people, because I just got into a fight with somebody in the parking lot over parking in the wrong spot. So I need to confess my sins. So, sir, if you're listening to this, I'm so sorry for being such an itch.
He really does not seem like someone who would be listening to this. He's
definitely writing a Yelp review on this church about the mean little girl who yelled at him in the parking lot.
That is the least of our
Sometimes
concerns.
I just take out all of my most deepest resentment of the world on people who park in the wrong parking space in our parking lot.
Yeah.
That's a side note.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation because I actually think that's a big piece of like all of us who experience minority stress, which for anyone who doesn't know what that means, just like when you're one of the minority identities, whether that is a woman, person of color, you know, queer, any of these things, there's places where you are receiving that stress that you can't respond to it in the way in that moment.
Right.
And it builds up. And so then it comes out in these places where it feels more accessible and often will come out in bigger things. I was telling you, I was telling Ashley before this that I allowed myself to vent in comments on a post and just get so ridiculous going after people. And it was me doing that. And it was like, I can't do that when someone questions me as a gay pastor. I have to be presentable and I have to like engage it and take these questions and receive the suspicion. Because if I were to like go at them as I'd like to, it shuts it all down.
Well, thanks for convicting me because I had a conversation earlier that day about a certain person who has consistently not only wears a part of my church hurt, but is continually doing it. And I feel so helpless, like I should be doing something. Yeah. So I took it out on that poor guy in the parking lot because the anger, when the church doesn't act like the church, I want to fight it and I want to stop it because I loved the church. And I want to do everything in my power to stop spiritual abuse that is happening. And that goes to the queer community. We abuse. We use scripture. We correct with it. And all you wanted to know was, would Jesus love me?
Yeah. I mean, hell, look at, as the Baptist, have you been following the whole Southern Baptist thing about women preachers and this whole thing? Like, it's everywhere. And it's sad and it's frustrating. And
they're all going to hell.
I promised you that we would do 45 minutes, and we've hit 45 minutes.
Already?
Already. I know, look at that.
Let's end on this thought.
So yeah, give us a thought to end on.
On the Southern Baptist women. Isn't that so funny? That's like the church I was a part of, was Southern Baptist. Mm-hmm. I love the church. And I wish everyone in the church, because you're a super influencer, so maybe someone in the church will listen.
Not a super influencer, but okay.
Bummer.
I know.
Okay, well, you're a professional homosexual.
Here we go.
I wish the church, if it's women in ministry, if it's gay, if it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Immigrant, colored, whatever we're doing. I just wish we'd stop making rules and regulations for people to love and serve Jesus. Because I think, it's a bold statement, but I just think we're going to get to heaven and he's going to be like, you just didn't know me. That's my open interpretation of that verse.
No, I actually think it's a big thing because I think the whole piece of that verse is the people who Jesus says you don't know me, are people that are like, hey, we've done all of these things for you. And he's like, yeah, but you didn't care for the poor. You didn't visit people in prison. You weren't like caring for the least of these. And the priorities of it. It's not that the other things didn't matter, but the priorities were completely flipped. Like, I think I've shared this on the podcast before, but there was a moment a few years ago where I was really venting in a small group at church about just the process. I don't know if it was the ordination process or church, whatever. It was just about being in ministry. And someone was asking me like, well, Josh, after all of that, why do you want to be a pastor? And not really knowing what I was going to say at the time, I like processed in it. And my response was, I think it's because I truly still, in the midst of being really frustrated with the church, believe that the way of Jesus is the way of healing for our world. I believe when we do the way of Jesus right, when we do it as I believe Jesus intended it to meant to be done, that's how the world heals. And for some reason, Jesus has decided to attach that to these people. And so I'm not committed because I think these people do it well. I think we do it awful.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the way of Jesus is the way of healing. And in that, Jesus has attached that to commitment to this body. And so
Sorry.
I hope that through loving her and seeking the way of Jesus more whole, that there can actually be the healing that Jesus was envisioning in this world. I hope. And I think that's why I keep going. Like, because I similarly get frustrated with it. And I don't want people to be hurt in it. So.
Well, and I think this will be my final thought is that, sorry, I'm going to cough again, is that what you just said is why do I keep going? You know, like there's so many spaces that women are treated with as though they shouldn't have leadership or they shouldn't be this or they shouldn't be that or they have to kind of be these like bulldogs to get in places, which I've done. And I've been a real itchy witch to people. But for me, I think it's this thought of like, there was a time when I didn't know all of that and I didn't see the evil of division in the church. I didn't see behind the curtain. I didn't see the wizard. And it was the happiest, most beautiful season of my life because the right person was in leadership who never let me feel it.
Yeah.
They never let me feel it. They were good youth pastors and good people in my church, even though it was Baptist, that never made me feel like I couldn't be. Yeah. And then I went to Liberty And there were some wankers. And then there's this one professor, Dr. Vandegrift, who just let me be a Spitfire. They used to make you take women's ministry classes for the girls, and the guys got to take a preaching class or some pastoral class. And I was like, I don't, whatever her name is, who fought for women's right to vote. I went in there for women's suffrage and was like, I'm not taking this class on tampons and chocolate and Jesus. I'm like, I'm taking that preaching class. And I was like, so sign me out of it, Dr. V. And we talked, and he signed me out of it.
Okay.
And he believed in me. And Dr. Goose, who's still there, believed in me. There was people who took the absorbing of the hatred, of the division, of what the world wanted to say about where I fit. And they absorbed that and made a pathway. Yeah. And my first boss at the church I worked at, Ryan McDermott, that guy literally hired me, and I believe was like, he believed in me. Absorbed it again. So for me, I don't give up on the church, because as hard as it is sometimes, I want to absorb that to make space for others. Yeah. Because I believe we're all supposed to be a part of the church. I am better because I've met you. I am better because I've learned to understand from you. I've been taught by you. I don't know many terms, and you've taught me a lot. Don't ask me them. We cannot do a spelling bee on queer terms. It will end very poorly. I think I'm dyslexic. But I believe I get to look more like Jesus because I met you.
You're making me want to sing Wicked. Because I knew you.
Because I knew you. Josh has a beautiful voice, and one time when he sang worship on a Sunday night, I recorded it and slightly had never mind. I don't know what level your podcast is, so
it's whatever level.
Oh, okay. This is I slightly had I was very turned on, and then he, like many gay men in my life, broke my heart and said, "I'm not interested."
No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I said, "Do you want to kiss?" And he said, "No."
No.
And I said, "Okay."
No, thank you.
I said, "Okay," but the worship song I sang was "Not in a Hurry," and I said, "Don't worry, I'm not in a hurry," and I winked.
And winked. Oh my gosh.
He said no still.
Y'all, now you got to meet Ashley. My work wife.
Yay! This might be the end of your podcast. I've said very offensive things.
That's fine. That's the end. Other things will come.
We will keep working in the church.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you enjoyed this moment.
How do we end this?
Well, I have my spiel.
Should I say my spiel too?
Sure. Let me get out a few of the details. If you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/holyourselves, where you can get more bonus content and everything and support the podcast on the way. Like I said, Meg Botts came on for an extra episode following her one on the main podcast. You can listen to that for second tier listeners. And also there's a lot more to come in that. And also you can subscribe to my Substack email newsletter monthly. I'm currently going through a series on celibate partnerships, giving advice on discernment, different pieces of it. I'm glad to see the response from this first one where I was just defining what a celibate partnership is. But I'm hoping to talk about different aspects like exclusivity versus prioritization, advice for discernment, all of those things. So you can go on to the Substack there. And if you're looking for spiritual direction, you can go to holyourselves.org to get more information. Now you can close us out.
And if you'd like to support me, my Starbucks number account is...
Go ahead. Give your Venmo.
Also, check out my podcast. That's going to be starting.
Yeah, talk about your what's your podcast? We have a few minutes.
Is this extra bonus material?
Well, I have a session in a few minutes, but go ahead and give your spiel.
If you would like to listen to my podcast coming out in the fall, I didn't even get to tell Josh about it today. But as I shared, I work through having borderline personality disorder, and I've had it my whole life, and very fascinating journey I've been on. A lot of Christian counselors told me I was too self-aware, so I didn't have it. People did tell me it was it's actually like a very painful journey. Yeah. And then appropriately enough, I believe my husband was probably cheating on me. Not true. This is part of borderline. They always believe someone's like leaving them or going to reject them. So I looked through his phone, which you don't do. And it said, I think my wife has borderline personality disorder. And I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I went and read a whole book on it one day, wept. But it was the first book that I had ever read that at the end it said, but there is hope if they get help. And so I have been probably since then on a 4 to 5 year journey on healing. And I've decided to start a little podcast about how to interact with someone with borderline personality disorder.
Ooh.
And the lessons I've learned from people I worked with, friends, coworkers like yourself, old coworkers that when I was not self-aware, family members, and just kind of want to give hope and awareness that there is healing, but also there's work to be done, validating and addressing. So check out my podcast. I don't have a name yet, but ask Josh on Holy Yourself because yourself is holy.
All right.
What if you ended every podcast kissing it?
We can do that now.
Are you actually going to put this on your bonus material so people will listen?
This is all going on the main podcast.
Really? I was thinking about calling it like not Black Mirror, but like Dark Mirror. No, something about like, you know how Black Mirror is like the show is like the other side of something. Yeah. Maybe you guys can help me vote. Can you write in the comments? You have comments?
Yeah. Like send us in your thoughts. What should Ashley's podcast be named?
Ooh, that would be so fun.
Yes.
Okay, because my thought was like the Black Mirror idea where it's like what is actually on the other side that I don't see. And it all came up because recently I realized that I have a reality of how I talk to people. Like outside today, I was super nice to the guy in the parking lot. I'm very aware I was not. But there have been times where I've actually texted Josh and I was like, how did you perceive this conversation? And he was like, that was not very nice. And I understand your heart why. He's so nice to me, even when I'm a horrible person. So I want to talk about this other side that I'm not seeing.
I like it. Okay.
So you'll be on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy yourself. Self of holy.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Love you. Call me.